What is something you used to think people were over-exaggerating about until you experienced it yourself? How fast time feels like it goes. Every year feels like it's going faster. The other week my 10-year-old nephew said, "Wow, I haven't heard this song in forever." The little dude was referring to 9 months lol. I mean that's 7.5% of his whole life. Migraines. Pure agony. A proper toothache. Tooth abscess. Never seen my husband cry till those 3 days when we couldn't access doctor for pain relief, antibiotics, etc. My dentist referred me to a root canal doctor who said 1 week I cried. Back pain. Oh yeah, let's lie on the floor at Walgreens for a little bit and wait until it stops. Panic attacks. I thought I knew what panic attacks were when I was younger, and why are people making such a big deal out of this stuff? Turns out, I was never having panic attacks. I was just nervous and thought that's what people meant. When I actually had a panic attack, I thought I was going to die. And even then, for some reason I feel like that was 1.5 panic attack. I really wish there was a better, more scientific sounding name. True panic attacks are legit one of the most terrifying things you can experience, but no matter how you try to describe it to other people, if they've never had one themselves they just don't get it. They will just equate it with being really nervous. Like, no, I actually thought I was dying. I truly honestly believe this is it, I'm going to die now. People don't understand how mentally taxing that is, to be forced to confront your mortality due to a malfunctioning brain, for me multiple times a week when I was at my worst. You know what's crazy to me? The first time I had one and realized what it was, I had to pull over on the shoulder and breathe. I was frightened for my life, but also kind of impressed at the panic attacks itself. Like, how is this happening? I fully understand that it's not real, but I still somehow believe it is. It was such a bizarre juxtaposition. The randomness and often irrationality of them makes them even more scary and confusing for me. Anxiety. I thought I understood and didn't understand the big deal until I really felt it. To say it controls you is an understatement. Absolutely agree. Being at war with yourself is ass. You know every strength and weakness within your own self. There is no reasoning with anxiety. I say the same about depression. You're literally fighting your own brain, which knows every strength and weakness you have, knows exactly which buttons to press to make you feel crappy AF. Hot flashes. I didn't think they were this bad. I'm a 31-year-old man who took Wellbutrin for the past month and hot flashes are a side effect. I thought you just thought you were hot. No mother ducker you are. You're super hot legitimately, and you have to do something about it or you'll go insane. It's not in your head. It's your brain raising your temps until you can't focus on anything else. This 56-year-old woman says yes. How much a kidney stone hurts. Most people expect it to hurt the most when passing a stone through the urethra. Nothing prepared me for the pain as it passed through my kidney ureter. 1 second I would be fine, carrying on conversations, prancing around nimbly-bimbly. The next second I would be keeled over, crying in agony, losing my lunch due to the sudden onset of crippling pain. 010, would not recommend. Chronic illness, there is absolutely no way you can truly understand the impact unless you experience it. Just that idea of always being sick and you will never not be sick again. And you're expected to participate in society just the same as everyone else. It's deeply ducked up. And no one believes you. It's been years, get over it. I battled cancer for 4 years and yes, it's in remission now, but my body is trashed and done for. No immune system, multiple surgery taking chunks out of my body, experimental treatments with no real data on long-term side effects. Every single time I catch a cold I either get pneumonia, or I'm laid out for weeks, constantly in pain, constantly sick. But no cancer, so I guess I want and need to quit being a baby apparently. It's amazing how once you're in remission you just get dropped by everyone now that you're not going to die. I can't be the only one who feels this way, right? We're ducking twinsies, man. Stage 4 melanoma, barely lived. Quit treatments due to side effects. Left with a bazillion autoimmune disorders, nerve damage, half a lymphatic system, shit all for vital organs, and have been completely disabled since. Alive is hard, and being disabled is a full-time job. You have to accept the reality of living in a broken body every day, learning what you can do, and doing what you can, but some folks just look at you like just to drink your protein shakes and hit the gym, you'll never be tired again. Sure, and I'll tell the guy in a wheelchair there to make sure he doesn't skip leg day 2, you fucking idiot melt. Sorry you're going through it too, friend. People don't fucking understand, and that's fine. But maybe they could try listening instead of opening their goddamn mouths. So frustrating. The physical pain of getting older. Damn. The emotional pain too. I get so nostalgic and teary over the past and how much has changed. It's a weird grieving process over losing your youth and the way things were. Waterboarding. We were drunk and figured, it's just water. Hold your breath and you'll be fine. Then I volunteered to test it out and it was the absolute worst. Christopher Hitchens was a skeptic of waterboarding's severity as well. He was subjected to it in a controlled environment. He was then no longer a skeptic of its severity. www.youtube.com watch? Vic 592 JJPH3 Yob Channel Vanity Fair. Here's the article he wrote afterwards, appropriately titled, "Believe me, it's torture also, anytime this is mentioned, someone should always remind everybody that Sean Hannity also said he would do it, and was even offered money to go through with it. To my knowledge, he never did." How great homegrown fruits and vegetables are. I figured that was just gardener talk justifying their time-consuming hobby. Then I bought a house where the previous owner had a vegetable garden and orchard. That spring I saw these things coming up out of the ground and thought, is that asparagus? Cut them and cooked them and they were incredible then, the plums ripened. I never even liked plums but I thought I'd try one so I pulled it off the tree and bit into it. Well, that's not bad. Pretty juicy, fresh picked fruit is far juicier than the stuff in stores. So anyway I ate another plum and then another and the next thing I know I've been standing there eating plums for like 5 minutes and the juice is literally, running down my arms and dripping off my elbows. And those hard and sour strawberries you buy in stores are nothing like soft sweet strawberries slightly warm from the sun that never make it into the house because you just sit in the garden eating them as fast as you pick them. And of course, tomatoes. Once you start growing your own you will never be able to buy another one in a supermarket. The difference between humid and dry heat. I saw a thread where some furs were trying to argue that dry heat was worse. I'm Australian. Unless you're up north, it's all dry heat, and it'd take dry heat every day of the week over humidity. You can't escape humidity. Old people telling when rain was coming based on arthritis symptoms. Edit, there's a few studies that showed no correlation, one older one that showed some correlation, maybe others that cast doubt on the correlation. But it's very hard to prove a negative and the science seems heavily overshadowed by medical practitioners like radiologists, who say there is a correlation because of barometric pressure. I also found it super interesting that the people who mentioned these studies in the comments were downloaded to oblivion. I wavered back and forth about making this edit, before realizing I value accuracy more than karma. I ripped my kneecap out in a bad bicycle accident in high school. I'm 40 now and can barely walk before a big thunderstorm rolls in. Tinnitus. It's torture. I don't mind it much cause I've had it since I was born. That means I don't know what proper silence is. Me too, they thought I had hearing issues when I was young because I couldn't really hear some of the beeps well because they matched the pitch of the ringing. Using a bidet. I thought it was just weird and unnecessary. But during the great COVID TP shortage I bought a bidet attachment to save on TP. And what a game changer a bidet is. I feel nasty using TP now. My first experience of using a bidet was in Vietnam. I had eaten some questionable street food and had explosive diarrhea. The bidet offered sweet relief as opposed to abrasive toilet paper. I highly recommend them. You know that grief you see in dramatic movies when someone gets horrible news via phone call and just crumples to the floor wailing? Always felt like melodrama to me. Until I got the call that there had been an accident and my dad had died. I'm sorry for your loss. It's really terrible experience. I had the opposite problem when my mother passed from an accident. I thought I would just crumble, but it was just so surreal that my brain couldn't seem to emotionally process it. I remember being in the receiving line and just looking over at her and having this what the duck is happening? Sort of bewilderment. Often the people I've cared most about, I've been really surprised at how my grief played out. It's been about 9 months since and I still have a sort of weird sense about it. Like, I haven't called mom in a while, I should do that this weekend. And then remembering, or being surprised that she's not in my list of favorite contacts on my phone. Grief is absolutely bizarre. As I'm sure you know, how you react is no reflection of how much you love them, or how much you miss them. Grief does what it wants, for as long as it wants. And you're along for the ride.